Today I'm comparing Medicare Supplement Plan N to Medicare Supplement High Deductible Plan G, so you can learn more and help determine which would be a better fit for you. So stay tuned. When it comes to Medicare supplement insurance, also known as medigap insurance, there are many different various plan letters that you can choose from, but most people today will either be choosing Medicare Supplement Plan G or Medicare Supplement Plan N. These are by far the two most popular options, but today I also want to consider Medicare Supplement High Deductible Plan G. So Plan G has a high deductible version as well that's available in certain states with certain insurance carriers, and I want to compare that plan to Medicare Supplement Plan N, because chances are if you are a savvy Medicare consumer, then these may be two of the plan options that you are considering, and you really want to know about all of your options for Medicare supplement coverage. Now, the Medicare supplement plan that you choose and the insurance company that you choose to purchase it through, these are decisions that should be taken very seriously. They're very important. And the reason being is that for most people, you only get one chance. You only get one Medicare supplement open enrollment period. And this period happens when you are brand new to Medicare. Now, if you miss this window, or if you want to change your medigap plan later on down the road, you may or may not be able to. It's going to be dependent upon your health in most states and in most situations. And the insurance company could choose to just deny your application for coverage, or they could charge you a much higher premium. Now, I'm going to talk about the specifics of this a little bit later on in the video, but essentially this is meant to reiterate that watching videos like this, getting educated about your Medicare supplement plan options is very, very important. Okay, so let's dive in. Traditional Medicare Supplement Plan G is the most popular Medicare supplement plan currently, and it is the most comprehensive Medicare supplement plan available right now to anyone who turned 65 or became eligible for Medicare as of the year 2020 and beyond. Plan G covers absolutely all of the gaps in traditional Medicare except for your Medicare Part B deductible. So this means that if you have a Medicare Supplement Plan G, then you are only responsible for your Medicare Part B deductible every year. And after that, all of your other Medicare Part A and B hospital medical services are covered at 100% between Medicare and the Medicare Supplement Plan G. In 2024, the Part B deductible is $240. So in other words, you'd pay the first $240 of your medical bills each year, and then after that, complete coverage. Now, this type of plan is really excellent for folks who don't want to have to worry about high medical bills in the future. And just like any other Medicare supplement plan, the plan benefits never change. So all Medicare supplement plans are guaranteed renewable for life. That means that as long as you continue to pay your premiums, your plan can never be canceled on you and the benefits can never change. Additionally, just like any other medigap plan, there are no networks. You can choose your own doctors and hospitals. You don't need referrals. As long as your provider accepts traditional Medicare, then they can and must accept your Medicare supplement plan, no matter what plan it is, no matter which insurance company you have it with. So that is a benefit that will be the same on Plan G, Plan N, any Medicare supplement plan you choose. Now, Plan G also has a high deductible version that some insurance companies offer in most states. This version works a lot like traditional Plan G, except you have a higher deductible. So in 2024, the deductible is $2,800 per year. Now that's the deductible for this year. The deductible can increase over time. It usually does based on things like inflation and rising healthcare costs. So on a Plan G high deductible, you pay your Medicare cost share for covered services until the total amount that you've paid out of pocket equals $2,800, at which point the high deductible Plan G kicks in and covers everything at 100%. So you're not necessarily paying the full cost of all of your services until you've met that deductible. You're paying the Medicare cost share. So you're paying the Medicare Part A deductible, the Part B deductible, and any Medicare Part A or B co-insurance or co-payment amounts until you meet the high deductible on a high deductible Plan G. And keep in mind, your deductibles always reset every January 1st. Now, for some people in certain states, Medicare Supplement High Deductible Plan G will definitely be an option to consider. So in certain states like New York or Florida come to mind, High Deductible Plan G is priced in such a way as so it makes it a better value sometimes than most of the other Medicare Supplement plans. Let's take New York, for example. In this area of New York State, a traditional Medicare Supplement Plan G is around $300 a month. A Plan G high deductible starts at around $70 a month. Now that's a difference of $230 a month, or $2,760 per year in premiums alone. So for this instance, for someone in this area, even if they were to meet their full deductible that year on the high deductible Plan G, they are actually still coming out ahead when you add in the monthly premiums and the deductible as compared to a traditional Plan G. So this plan makes sense financially for someone in this area. Now, New York is a little bit of an outlier. Medicare supplement plans are regulated differently there, and the premiums for Medicare supplement plans are some of the highest in the country. So let's look at another example for someone in North Carolina. In this area, we're looking at an example where a traditional Plan G is about $90 a month, and the high deductible Plan G is about $36 a month. So for someone here on a traditional Plan G, you're all in at about $1,320 per year. That includes your monthly premiums for your Plan G and your Part B deductible, your $240 that you may have to meet for your medical bills that calendar year. But for someone on a high deductible Plan G in this area, if they were to meet their full deductible that year, they're all in at $3,232. So if you were to have high medical expenses that year, you are definitely coming out ahead with a traditional Plan G for someone in this area. Now let's compare this to Plan N. Plan N is very similar to traditional Plan G. There are just two things that make it different. Both plans are the same in that you have to pay the Medicare Part B deductible, the first $240 of your medical expenses each calendar year. Then after that, on Plan N, you have almost complete coverage. You still do have to pay co-pays for certain diagnostic office visits and co-pays for certain emergency room visits if you have a Medicare Supplement Plan N. So the co-pays are the one thing that make Plan N different from Plan G. Now, if you are considering Plan N, I'm going to link a video in the show notes below that goes into much more specifics about the Plan N copays, which codes trigger these copays, when you can expect to pay them, etc. So be sure to check that out. But in general, you can expect to pay about $20 for many doctor's office visits if you have a Plan N, or a copay of $50 for an emergency room visit if you're not admitted to the hospital. If you get admitted, the copay's waived. So again, the copays are the biggest thing that make Plan G and Plan N different. The other difference between Plan G and Plan N is coverage for Medicare Part B excess charges. Plan G covers Medicare Part B excess charges and Plan N does not. Now again, I've done another in-depth video all about excess charges that I've linked below. Feel free to check that out. The big takeaway from the video is that excess charges are very rare. So in general, they happen about 1% of the time on all Medicare claims. So there's about a 99% chance you'll never see an excess charge. In my opinion, they're not something that you should be worried about on Medicare Supplement Plan N, but they are the other important difference that makes Plan N different from Plan G. For those that are comparing traditional Plan G to Plan N, you'll really want to consider your medical usage. And perhaps not just how much you go to the doctor now, but taking a look at your family health history or your personal health history to help determine how you may utilize your plan in the future. How often do you expect to go to the doctor and hospital? If you see doctors or specialists very frequently, then you may want to consider traditional Plan G because you won't have to worry about the copays and you'll have that more comprehensive coverage. If you're someone who sees the doctor less frequently, you still like the idea of having very comprehensive coverage, but you're okay paying some small co-pays, then a Plan N may be for you. Now let's take that North Carolina example again. For someone looking at a Plan G high deductible in that area, the rate was starting at about $36 a month. And for this person, a Plan N starts at about $77 a month. So let's say you have a medical year where you meet your Part B deductible, and then you also have an additional 5 office visits, and you have an emergency room visit as well. If you had a Plan N in this scenario, then your all in for the year would be about $1,314. Now that includes your Plan N premiums, that includes your Part B deductible, it includes your office visit and your emergency room visit copays as well. If you had a high deductible Plan G and a similar year, and if you were to meet your full deductible on your high deductible Plan G, then your all-in number is $3,232 that year. So obviously you're saving money coming out ahead with the Medicare Supplement Plan N. Even if you didn't meet your full deductible on the high deductible Plan G, let's say you only satisfied up to $1,000 towards your deductible, your all-in that situation would still be $1,432. So again, you're still coming out ahead with the Medicare Supplement Plan N. So there's definitely a bit of unpredictability here, right? We don't have a crystal ball. If you stay very, very healthy, you hardly ever go to the doctor, you rarely ever use your plan, then yes, of course, you're going to come out ahead with a lower premium, higher deductible plan like high deductible Plan G. And maybe you're more of a risk taker. Maybe you're used to having a high deductible plan and you see a potential value in the savings there. But in many parts of the country, even if you have a year with moderate medical usage, you're usually coming out ahead with a Medicare Supplement Plan N compared to a high deductible Plan G. But again, this really depends on your location. Now, it's also important to consider future rates and rate increases when we are considering which Medicare supplement plan to choose. I covered this topic in a few more videos like the ones I've linked below, but in general, we've seen Plan G tends to have higher rate increases over time than Medicare Supplement Plan N. There's a few different reasons for this, but in general, Plan N tends to see a healthier population of individuals enrolling, thus the insurance companies are paying out on fewer medical claims, and you're seeing lower rate increases because of that if you have a Medicare Supplement Plan N. So rate increases in the future are another important thing to consider because like I mentioned earlier, you may or may not be able to change your Medicare Supplement Plan letter or insurance company down the road once you're no longer new to Medicare. In most states, it will depend on your health. There are states that have different rules, and again, another video linked below talks all about that. Now, a lot of people ask me, what about the rate increases on high deductible Plan G? If you're saying rate increases on Plan G could be higher, does that also translate to Plan G high deductible as well? My answer is that I wouldn't be as concerned about the rate increases on high deductible Plan G. Since the insurance companies pay on so many fewer claims because of that higher deductible, it's pretty unlikely that you will get hit with huge rate increases on a high deductible Plan G based on the historical rate increase data that we've seen. So low rate increases are another big pro for high deductible Plan G. I would say that some of the cons are that you have a higher deductible. So you may end up feeling like you don't have very much insurance coverage if you do have to start using your plan and paying out of pocket into that deductible. Most seniors we talk to are on a fixed budget. So if they get big unexpected medical bills, it can be burdensome. Now, something that's just as important, if not more important than choosing which Medicare supplement plan letter to go with, is choosing which insurance company to go with as well. Now, as you've seen, Medicare supplement plan rates can vary quite a bit from one insurance company to the other. And these are for the same exact plan, right? The rates can vary a lot. That being said, going with the plan with the lowest price without weighing any other factors is not necessarily what you want to do either. You really want to look at which companies have longevity, stable rate increases, and strong financials so that you can be with a company that is going to minimize your rate increases over time. Now, that's something that we help people with in our office. We are independent brokers. We work with over 30 different insurance companies. So we shop for you and help you figure out which plan, which letter, which insurance company is going to be the best fit for you, your needs, and your budget. Our service is completely free. We're licensed in 46 states. And of course, we would love the opportunity to assist you. We get so many calls from people that find us right here on YouTube, and we love the opportunity to help. I hope this video helped to review Plan G high deductible versus Plan N. If you have any other questions, please hit me up in the comments below. You can call my office, send an email. We love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.